Let's see here. We are live, sir.
Beautiful.
Cody, I'll kick it over to you.
Yeah, welcome. Well, welcome to Just a Bit Outside, the podcast where sports take center stage, life throws us curveballs, and shenanigans are always in play. How's your week going, guys?
Yeah, cheers, boys. Doing well. Put them up.
Lots to talk about today, which is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously the Super Bowl, but before first thing first, though, what are we sipping on today?
Yeah. First, torch your drink over there.
Yeah,
I'm firing it up, baby.
I told him last time that I like the Smoky O's, and now he's doing the Smoky O tonight.
Right.
I love it.
I got it going.
Ooh, there you go.
Not too bad.
Pretty. I love how it
Got
just
a
like
little-
sits kind of at the bottom of the glass if you let
Yeah.
it for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
The
like
best part, right there, rolling around.
dancing around for a little while.
When you still have it on and you hit it, you can see it just kind of rolling in and just
Mhm.
kind
That's
of
right.
on top of the glass.
It's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I
nothing too exciting. Basil Hayden's today, but so
Basil
nothing too crazy, but
classic. It's a staple.
it's a staple. You got to have it.
Oh, I see. We got you're rocking the Cutwater again.
Yeah, got the Cutwater.
Nice, good stuff.
It's a go-to. Got the beer fridge conveniently located right there.
Nice, yeah. So we see you duck out of camera for a second, then we know what's going on, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. What do you
I'm just
today?
I'm actually I got some Blanton's today, a little bit bougie.
Ooh, there you go.
Little bougie.
It's one of the only ones I have sitting right here, also conveniently really close by. And I don't know, I just was running a little late, didn't have time to construct the old Smoky O, even though Jason did his on camera, so I suppose it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah,
Speaking of bourbon,
try to go simple.
Did you guys hear about all the bourbon that was stolen a few years ago? That was found.
What a travesty!
No.
Where?
So there was like over $100,000 of Pappy Van Winkle.
Oh, no.
And it was from the two major distilleries. It was from Wild Turkey and Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
And come to find out, it was an inside job.
It's always
Darn right it was.
So there was the ringleader. It was like 9 people. The ringleader was a Buffalo Trace warehouse manager that had been at the company for 26 years.
Jesus.
And in
He's been playing on that
2008,
for a while.
oh yeah, in 2008, when like Pappy Van Winkle really shot up, they literally just drove off the premises in their uniforms in the delivery truck with a shipment of Pappy Van Winkle. And how they got caught was they were literally saying, or like, oh hey, like we've got some extra supplies, I'll give it to you for discount. Selling barrels, wood barrels of bourbon, and
Right.
they
Like,
basically
drafted up the good stuff, and now they got caught selling the barrels.
right. And the funny part, it was barrels of wild turkey.
Oh Jesus!
So like not
What?
even
the good
they
stuff,
were
right?
like selling Pappy Van Winkle for a ridiculous, no, literally selling barrels of wild turkey. And it brought them back to their
Wow.
warehouse where they were storing all this
Yeah.
bourbon.
Probably to a bunch of basic like suburbanites that we're gonna put them, like in their house somewhere.
Yeah.
and
Right.
then they got caught out.
You weren't even going to drink it, right?
Right? Yeah.
We're going to eat.
Well, and what really stinks is outside of the Pappy Van Winkle that was still sealed, all the barrels and stuff, they had to flush it. Like we can't
Ooh.
sell it because we
Yeah.
don't know if it's been, if it's
Tainted.
good, if it's been stored properly, all that stuff. So they had to literally just dump the barrels. But at least the Pappy Van Winkle stuff was returned. So
Pappy's an
Wow.
interesting one too. That's like, like everybody I know that's a bourbon drinker loves to talk about Pappy, and like to me, I feel like it's one of those things that's like so overhyped that it's like, yeah, okay, you got Pappy, that's great. Like you spent exorbitant amounts of money to get this bottle of whiskey. Is it really going to like taste that good? Like I don't, I like bourbon. I'm not going to be able to tell you whether I'm drinking a $5,000 glass or, like I could tell you if I'm drinking a $5 glass versus a $100 glass. But like once you get to a certain level, it's just like, and so I think like the real bourbon connoisseurs probably turn their nose up a little bit at Pappy just because it's like, it's like, yeah, okay, it's the thing that everybody wants, but like, like where's the excitement in it after you get it? Like you just paid a crap ton for something that everybody already knows about. I feel like it's that diamond in the rough, or that like ones that are good that don't cost a ton or aren't super rare that you want to find as like a good bourbon drinker.
Yeah. Well, and I think the real bourbon drinkers, if you get a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle, you're not drinking it. Like, it's like, think of it like some people, like, when I bought this like Jabbar Chase helmet, like, I'm not going to wear it. Like, what the hell do I need a Jabbar Chase helmet for? But it means something to me. I collect it because I like it. Therefore, it holds value to me.
I can't imagine a scenario where you would wear it. Like, what are you doing? Like running head first in the walls in your house or something?
Right. I mean, I do have 2 children, so and I tend to take the brunt of the roughhousing. But
get them started in football early.
Yeah, so I came home and I got my. Of course, everybody will think that's a Patriot helmet, but it's from my hometown, my little league helmet, that my kids signed for me. And I came home and it was missing, and I was like, where the heck is it? And I come downstairs, my kid's Twitch streaming his COD game with wearing that thing on his head. So
just the helmet, probably, right?
Yeah, no, he had clothes on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. I would hope,
just to be clear. Just to be clear. So, but yes, he was just wearing the helmet, which was a little odd. But
it was an inside job in your case too, huh?
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
Speaking of inside job,
I don't get the whole Pappy thing. I don't understand. It's all branding. It's all branding. Is it good? Sure, but I'll tell you that
and like Jewel, does it? Doesn't Jewel like? Isn't it? It's one of like the local grocers that has like one of the raffles, I guess. I don't even know. Like, I don't even know enough about it, but like I know that like you can get on a raffle to buy a bottle, and I think like one of the raffles that one of my friends who's a bourbon drinker sent me to enter was like it went to like Jewel, which for those are that may be listening, which are probably nobody that's not in the Chicago area. Jewel's like the local grocery store. It's like like the conglomerate grocery store of the Midwest. So it's like it was weird when he sent me like a Jewel link. I'm like, this is so corporate. Like, why like why is Jewel the one controlling whether or not I can have Pappy Van Winkle? That just doesn't sound right. But
they used to sell a lot of rares.
Yeah, it's all about the relationships they have with the distributors. The more they buy, the more they sell, the more they get like upped in tiers on what quality they can get. And if they sell it, they'll get more of it. If they don't sell it, then they lose their chance, kind of thing. But I think that
was like
no, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry. I was just gonna say it's like the time I walked into the liquor store and I asked for a bottle of Vehicle Wear because I had been in there not so long ago, and I asked for a bottle. And I got yelled at by the liquor store clerk because of distribution. Right? They're like, well, what else? He was like, what else are you gonna buy? Like, I was just gonna buy a bottle of Vehicle Wear. He's like, no, you need to buy other things too, because he's like, I go and when I make these purchases, I'm making these purchases in bulk, and I only get a couple bottles of Eagle Rare, and so you need to buy other things. I'm like, I don't need to buy anything, dude.
Listen, bud. Like this may be a big thing for you,
business,
right? So you understand the ins and outs of the business, but like to me, this is like how things work. I walk in, I give you money, you give me liquor, and that's the end of transaction. We don't need to.
Right.
You don't need to tell me like, this isn't a negotiation here. Like this is, like we don't. This isn't like a bazaar in in olden times here.
There's a great Bill Burr skit where he's talking about he's like the gall of these businesses that are like he's like, for example, I went to McDonald's the other day and I ordered a burger or whatever, and they're like, oh, I was like, oh, do you want fries? Oh, here's a drink. And he's like, oh yeah, here's the cup. Soda machine's over there. He goes, then why don't you go over and get it? I'm paying you 100% of the money for 100% of the food. Do I have an apron on? Do I work here? No.
Right.
Go get it. Don't get me started about self-checkout at grocery stores. You come in, you get your shit, you get out.
Wait, are you still doing the Bill Burr bit, or is it over?
All the Bill Burr.
Oh, that's all. Okay.
Oh, that was just cranky dad.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna go with it if you were just
Yeah.
like kind of like seamlessly transitioning into cranky dad from after
I mean,
after
hey,
a little bit of Bill Burr. I was fine with
I'm
it.
for it. Wherever this conversation goes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was gonna go back to the heist, so to speak, with the bourbon. It reminded me of another story. I think it was like there's some Netflix series. I think it's called like, is it American Greed or something along those lines? It's something like that. But like I think the first episode,
CNBC or whatever.
yeah, like I don't know if that was the one, but there was something. I'll try to find it. The first episode was like talking about an inside theft job over maple syrup in Canada, and like
Oh,
this
I've heard about this.
it was the craziest freaking story, like total inside job, like long con, like, but like it exposed the seriousness, I'm like deadpan seriousness of maple syrup in Canada, which like as an American I just laugh at, but like no, this was like dead serious. Like there's, it's like, even, you talk about distribution rights and all that stuff for liquor, like talk about regulated entities in Canada, like their maple syrup is so heavily regulated. Like there's only a certain amount of people that get, families that get the right to even produce this stuff, and it's their national reserves. Like a lot of the entire nation's worth is
backing their currency.
it's bad. It is legitimately backing the loonies and the toonies. Yeah.
we tap into the oil reserves.
Yeah.
And they have the maple syrup reserves.
Maple syrup, yeah. And they had like some inside job where, like, I mean, we're talking like, I don't know. You have to watch the episode, but like people were like, it's like old school, like dead simple crime, like copying keys and like waiting for some guy to round the corner so you could sneak in and like unlock something and then like quick load it up into the truck and like
for maple syrup.
Like this person called this person, which left a paper trail, and that's how they got found. Like it's insane. It reminded me so much of like what you were just talking about, like
sounds like the town, like that.
Like, I guess
Ben Affleck.
yeah.
Like a Rob Fenway Park.
I mean, I guess like you're not, like, if you have to resort to a life of crime, you're probably not smart to begin with, but like just some of the like the way these people get caught and like the way these people try to like execute these crimes, I feel like, I would probably do a little bit better planning before.
That's on any of those shows. That's what always surprises me. It's the lack of planning.
Yeah.
And the lack of thought that goes into all of this.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe you're too close to the subject matter, and therefore you miss some of the glaring problems, right? I don't know what it is, but
like it just feels like this is like a fleeting thought that pops into their head one day and then like out as quickly as as it came in. Like, did you give this any forethought at all? You just like,
right,
you saw it, you said, I'm gonna go rob the maple syrup reserve today. Like
the maple syrup crime syndicate seems like a well organized, thought out.
Yeah, just
this is true. Well, that's a great segue.
I was going to say
into a pretty amazing hockey game that we watched today, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's a great segue. I forgot. Yeah, I was gonna bring up Four Nations. Like, God, that it might be that my hockey team, Blackhawks, is just so mired in this like lengthy rebuild that I forgot what good hockey looks like
or felt like.
Yeah. And trust me, like we had our run for sure, and like even the years that, like, because it was like every other year in the Blackhawks dynasty, even the other years where we weren't in it, I would watch playoff hockey, and just the feelings you get when it transitions into playoff hockey is like it's remarkable.
Oh yeah.
It's up there with football for sure.
It's insane. I don't know what it is. Like if it's just like, like the glaring or the grueling season, of all those games, and then all of a sudden, bam, playoffs comes in, and like everybody's like switches just flip to a completely different style of play, and like fans too and stuff. But man, those like Four Nations games, especially the US Canada game, which obviously is politically charged at the moment, but just insane how much energy there was in that game. And like I think that one was at the Bell Center, or no, I want to say it was at the Bell Center, which is in Montreal. That stadium in general for just watching hockey is nuts. Like they consistently.
Have you been there?
I've not, but they consistently rank at insane levels for like decibels when the team cheers.
Like just Seattle in football.
Yeah, exactly. It's like like the 12th man, like Seattle in football, but like God, it was just like I was so pumped to watch that game, and like just how fast they just came out of the gates like instantly. And like they're in the middle of an NHL season, and they have to stop what they're doing and go do this. Granted it was sanctioned by the NHL, but like still
they throw caution to the wind. It's not like football where now look at the Pro Bowl being so sterilized and it's unwatchable. They're going into that game and they're putting it all out. They're letting it all hang out, right? Like, and that's
you guys say
that's the way when we grew up. That's the way we felt like those games were. At least a little bit. Pro Bowl's always been a little light, but that you can never, hockey never disappoints with that type of stuff.
Just like all-star games in general are kind of light. And this is not.
I feel like MLB actually crushes the all-star.
You're right. That is true.
Somebody else does, like.
Well, because they made it worth something, right? That was like, and isn't it like home field advantage or whatever?
Oh yeah, whoever wins.
And maybe some of the other leagues do that too. I don't even know, but like I don't know, just for some reason. And to be fair, the Four Nations face-off is not an all-star game. It was just something contrived by the NHL, but like essentially it's filled with all-star teams. Yeah.
Did either of you catch PK Subban's rant this morning?
No, but
no.
Oh God, it was awesome.
It was good.
It was so good because he was talking about like the conversation was talking about the NBA, and he was like, he's like, the NBA has got to figure out a way to like match like the NHL, and like it's like they're saying like the animal, the all-stars, all that stuff is like the four nations, though it was sanctioned by the NHL, like the NHL didn't do anything. The players made that mean something. The players went out and crushed it. They got the fight. There's pride. Like that's the difference between current NBA and the NHL. Is the NBA, you can go out there, you can go through the motions. You can go out there, like a fan's going to pay a full price ticket, and LeBron could be sitting because he wants to take a rest there. You do not see that in the NHL. Are you hurt or are you injured? Because in the there's a difference. Like in the NHL, we play hurt. In the NHL, we play injured because it means something to us. Is like, and the NHL didn't do anything special to make this Four Nations game what it was. The players did that because they gave a damn. Like the NBA does not have that. Like
I think you hit the nail on the head though when you said pride. I think the NHL structured this in the right way by making it a national thing. And I'll unpack that for a second, because it made me interested. It's Four Nations, right? So the only four nations are represented in this. Duh, but but like I was curious if four nations or four countries in general could field a full NHL team worth of NHL people, because that was, as I understood this, it being sanctioned by the NHL means that they could only use NHL players. They couldn't use like other national team players or external pros. They had to have NHL teams, and so I think, or NHL guys. So I think that was made me interested, and sure enough, they have enough players that are pro quality NHL caliber players to field teams for a total of 4 nations. Could the NBA do that? Probably. They, I'm sure they probably could, and they should maybe look into that. But like, it
They
brought
do
up
the Olympics every year. Like,
yeah, I
Right.
mean, yeah, that's true with the USA. But like, and like most of the other teams that are non-USA are filled with scrubs from that they pick up, off the off the national team. They're not NBA guys. So I do think that you have to be, I guess, careful about how you structure it, because like if you don't have enough guys that year for whatever reason, there's just not enough active NBA players from Slovakia to field a team. Like, what do you do? Like, so that's why I think the NHL kind of zeroed in on this as being their thing, because they, I think, probably noticed that they very frequently have enough people from these 4 nations to field a team and can keep this going with their own people and not have to field it with other people that they pick up off the streets. So,
Well,
but yeah,
they lean into the history too, though, right? Like, Olympic hockey has been such a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You got Placid on the U.S. side, and the Russian side, but like, just overall, I think that when you're talking Winter Olympics, hockey is one of the primary sports that people are coming to watch, right?
all the
And
best
so
games are like politically charged games, though.
Oh yeah.
So
Right. And well, that's my point, is that you have a lot of history there, which I think just adds to the mystique of the 4 Nation games, and just feeds it, and then you got players that don't quit, you add that to it, and now you've got a national battle, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They do it right for sure.
It was great, and now we got the championship coming up on tomorrow, actually. Yeah, so God, that's gonna be
so good. That's gonna be an electric. Yeah.
I can't wait to watch. I wasn't sure what to make of it. I didn't know if I was gonna like it or not like it. A lot of people tuned in. Like, it was one of the highest streamed or watched hockey games
in years.
Yeah.
Just wait.
After the stream, I highly recommend you guys look up the PKC band rant.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up.
Crushes it. It's awesome.
PK's awesome. Him and Biz, Paul Bissonnette. Like, ironically, Paul Bissonnette, one of the worst NHL players statistically in the history of the NHL, who has now become, ironically, the face essentially of the NHL.
Yeah.
Like, because they, they're just outspoken personalities that are trying to bring new audiences into the fold, and it's working too, from what I hear. Like, it's really working. Like, hockey is picking up in markets that you wouldn't expect hockey to be in, and like, we've always had great hockey here in Illinois. Like, Illinois has been, like, I think one of the top 4 or 5 states in the nation for hockey. So it'll be interesting to see other ones too, and I credit a lot of that to what NHL and TNT are doing to kind of bring these personalities around and get them talking. Like, the whole back and forth between Bissonnette and Brad Marchand is like, it's like comedy gold. Like, if you haven't seen it, I highly suggest you watch it. Just like the two of them bantering back and forth, like, it's great. So yeah.
It would be great. I wonder if this 4 Nations kind of tournament, I guess we'll say, it's kind of like has a revitalization effect, similar to like how Caitlin Clark did to like the WNBA. Like, Caitlin Clark came in, all of a sudden, packed stadiums, like wherever she was going, and then you throw in the Reese, that rivalry in the battle, all that stuff, and it kind of puts ass in seats, kind of thing. I would love if this had that impact for NHL.
There's some other one now too, by the way. Watch out. I can't think of her name. I was hearing about it on the radio the other day, but they said if you thought Caitlin Clark was good and Angel Reese was good, like this other sophomore, I think she's a sophomore right now. She's got more. She's absolutely crushing it, and she's got more NIL money as a sophomore than like any of these girls did. Like, she's got deals with like all, like, they listed off all the sponsors, like insane, all the sponsors. So I think that's like there's a huge surge in women's basketball that I think is going to continue, and that's freaking awesome
That's
to
a
see.
good thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Now you can bet on everything too, so like it's like you got to watch everything. Like
Is it Juju Watkins or
Juju Watkins, that's it.
Okay, gotcha. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, good on you. I
Looking
couldn't think of the name. I was trying to remember it because like I was so intrigued when they said that. They were just like, people are like throwing her name, like not ironically throwing her name around is like in the same breath as like Jordan, and like, like whenever anybody does that, you like pause for a second. But I feel like
you got to.
the folks that I heard say that, I feel like they wouldn't just say it unless
we just throw it around.
Exactly. Yeah. Like they mean it. So that's going to be pretty cool to see how that goes.
That's big.
Sure.
So I didn't get to see the first U.S. Canada game, but I heard like 8 seconds in, just absolute brawl. Like,
yeah.
3 simultaneous fights.
3 back-to-back fights. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was obviously premeditated, and like NHL's the players are coy like that. They're like, oh, like in the intermission, he's like, oh, it just kind of manifested organically. Like,
yeah, I'm sure.
Later they were like talking about like, oh yeah, we had the group chat going, and they were like, all 3 of us were like, yeah, we're dropping the gloves right away. Like a guy. It was like one of the Kachuk brothers and Brandon Hagel. Like I think it was Matthew Kachuk and Brandon Hagel, who like apparently had this like premeditated for a while now. Like
there's some in-season guff there, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's like nothing that ever like made headlines to my knowledge, but like it's it was just one of those things I think that was like, just kind of building up over time. And then when they realized they were going to be started, on the same line opposed from each other, they were just like, yeah, let's effing go, man.
Yeah.
And it's not then you add the anthem to that. You got the complete package.
The booing of the anthem. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Wild.
It was wild, and it was awesome. What a cool way to like just send hockey to the masses. Like people that weren't watching hockey were watching that game and stuff. So that was awesome.
People love the drama.
Yeah. Speaking of big games.
I was gonna say, in 30 minutes in, we still haven't talked about big games.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Well,
yeah, we got this is the first official podcast, not the first that I've talked about it, but the first official podcast after the end of the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Did anyone see it going that way at all?
I'm pretty sure that almost everything I said on the last podcast was complete and utter garbage and did not happen in any way, shape, or form. Like Saquon Barkley had the most pedestrian game possible.
That was my big call.
And the Eagles still won.
Yeah. I was like, my big thing was like, it's all gonna run through Saquon. If Saquon has a bad game, they're gonna have a bad game. If Saquon has
none of it. No, although I did say that you got to shut down Kelsey, and that did happen. Although why that happened is because Mahomes spent his entire time on his back.
Yeah. Right? Oh man.
What a great, like, as a Bears fan, that was great to see for so many reasons. So many reasons.
Championships.
It just, it just made it undid months, if not years, of people talking about the Bears as like just an open door for quarterbacks and or like, well, like they would say, yeah, well, you have offensive lines, but your quarterback's holding the ball too long. And it's like, effing Patrick Mahomes looked like Justin Fields and to a lesser degree, Caleb Williams in that Super Bowl just then.
He had a great view of the ceiling. He was on his back the whole game.
They should have had like a drone just like zoom into his face, like face hugger style.
Yeah. Did see the recent article? Was it from interviewing Brittany Mahomes, and was it Brittany right? Yeah, about how the refs were not pulling the trigger on him getting lit up.
Hilarious.
What?
Yeah.
What was her?
Hilarious.
I posted something on Reddit that got zero traction, but her comment was was probably the best. It was what Patrick was back there getting tackled like an animal.
Like an animal. Yeah. So
Like
This
I
is-
am
This
so
is what
sorry.
happens to the other 31 players. on the
right.
league.
I am so
31
sorry
QBs.
that your husband fell victim to what the opposing team was designed to do to him.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
by rule, by like construction, the other team is trying to tackle the person who has the ball, and your husband got tackled. And I'm so sorry that a common occurrence that happens every down
Oh yeah.
Right.
happened to your husband.
As
Not to
a
mention, she
fan
was
of
expecting.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, not to mention the fact that she was expecting different, that the rules were going to be, more strictly enforced during a Super Bowl when it's actually the exact opposite,
Right.
or it should be at least.
Yeah.
It didn't start out that way. I was getting
True.
worried, but then it's certainly seemed to back off.
As someone who supports the team who lost in the AFC Championship game a few years ago because the refs gave the Chiefs a 5th down and called dead play after the play was over and said, no, I was trying to throw a flag after incomplete,
After
Right.
gave them another play, and then they didn't
couldn't-
convert that, and then on 4th down called a first play that gave them 1st down after they didn't complete it. I was like, oh man, watching that was just
It was pure joy.
Soup for the soul. Like
Yeah,
what
it
it
was. Darn right.
Yeah,
Darn right.
but
It's
literally
weird.
every take I had about the Super Bowl was complete bullshit from our last podcast. So I don't even know why I'm here. I'm just gonna sign off and let you guys finish the podcast without me.
We're not doing podcasts for predictions. We're just we're having fun here, right?
Yeah, just not
So
off. Not off
don't be
topic.
taking any betting advice from the JBO podcast. So
Yeah, but yeah, it was between
Please.
that and then like I think my other take was that I thought that there was an outside chance that the Chiefs were like lying in the weeds waiting, like that the mark of a true championship dynasty is when you realize that you only need to do the bare minimum throughout the regular season before you turn it on in the playoffs. Well, that obviously went to shit too, but it legitimately just looked like it was very clear that Philly was a much better team, and
100%.
there was no like trickery or sleeping doggery going on with the Chiefs. They just flat out got their asses punched.
It flat out looked like it meant more to Philly, and they played like it.
Mm-hmm.
It just
Well,
looked like it meant more.
it's a long season. It's a grind, and to do that 3 years in a row.
Oh yeah.
Not to mention all the other years that they almost went the distance.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, they're
a
getting
grind, man.
Go
You
right
do
to
that.
get to that spot.
Yeah.
So much has to go right.
Right.
built well.
And they and then you look at how Kelsey was playing, you could just tell. I mean, at least the way I saw it is like he just wasn't into it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and
I don't
he
know
was
what's
pissed off
got-
when things weren't going the right way, of course, but like when you watch the Eagles, they just wanted it more.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention they had revenge on their side too, so that certainly helps.
For sure.
And basically the Georgia Bulldogs defense, which doesn't hurt either.
Which is insane. It's so crazy. I love that shot of like, it's like I know we've talked ad nauseum about the Georgia defense, but the fact that these 3 guys lined up in the national championship and then are now lining up right next to each other in the Super Bowl is kind of
Crazy.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you're right, Andy, about the whole like talk about like Mahomes. Like there's all this chatter on that has been since Mahomes has been in the league, right? That if he was on the Bears, would he have been as successful? Clearly, that can be now put to rest.
Yep. Yeah, we can go back and lament about how we passed on Mahomes and all that other stuff, but like this is what Mahomes probably would have looked like on the Bears. Like now don't get me wrong, there's probably a few years there where he could have had enough of an offensive line for him to get some stuff done. And I don't think over the course of an 18-17 game season, like obviously during the course of that this season he didn't look that bad either, but it's just like that's probably the last thing we want as a Bears team is to pull a Rex Grossman and basically look half decent throughout the year and just get completely trashed in the Super Bowl. Like nobody wants to be beat in the Super Bowl. Like that's one thing that like bothers me about NFL fandom is like, I would just be happy if my team made it to the Super Bowl. No, you won't. Don't even say it.
No one
Like,
wants to be embarrassed like that in front of the largest crowd in all of sports.
Yeah. Like,
Hey, back in 2008, we were happy for about a minute. Actually, no, 30 seconds.
Right,
30 seconds, and then the wheels came off.
Yeah. But yeah, like that just sucked. Like I don't look back at that year and like, I mean, some of the I look back at some of the plays like we've talked about already, probably way more than needs airtime. Like with the opening kickoff and the 30 seconds that you're alluding to, but like there's nothing about the result of that game that I take comfort in, or like as a Bears fan, I don't even
talk about.
I don't even think about it really.
You only talk about it because Hester is in the Hall of Fame now.
Right.
And like, that's the only way you talk about it.
I don't consider it part of our success story. I consider it another failure. I mean, like, yeah, we had, I think some of the games we had that year, like the Denny Green Arizona game, it stands out more to me than the damn Super Bowl. Like the, middle of whatever it was, October, come from behind on, was it a Monday night or a Thursday night game or something? And
is that the let him off the hook game?
Yeah, we let them off the hook.
Yeah. They are who they thought they are. Who we thought they were.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Yeah. It's talking in similar vein to that. Like it's the game that kept coming to mind while watching this game was the Peyton Manning's first season in Denver, where they just absolutely destroyed everyone all season long, and then got embarrassed from the kickoff in that game, and nobody saw it. I thought they were going to win that game by 35 points.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't remember if it was that year or the following, but like Peyton Manning broke like the most passing touchdowns in a season record. They were humming. They had like Eric Decker and Demaryius Thomas, whatever, like, and they just got destroyed in the Super Bowl. Thankfully, Peyton won in the Super Bowl with Denver before he retired, but like that was embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Denver doesn't look back on that with glee,
Right?
Yeah. So I don't buy this whole, like, oh, I'm just happy.
You don't have to win, just get there. Get to the big dance.
Like, like we'll consider our team a dynasty if we get 5 Super Bowls in 10 years. Like, no, like not even wins, just appearances. Like, no, I would take 1 Super Bowl win over 3 Super Bowl losses any day.
Well, so that's pro sports, right? Like, but you get to a state championship and you get second place, you're feeling pretty good.
True. Well, yeah.
a little different. Yeah.
A little different.
I don't know. The kids don't like it as much. I remember, I never got to state championships, but like I remember the hardest I ever took losses when I was in youth sports, and like it's so funny like looking back at it now, like the hell was I crying about, or what like that stuff means nothing to me anymore. Like I'm so far removed from.
I mean, so yes, having recently gone through this with my son, right? Aging out of football, but I think that's the thing. Like, if I'm going to get upset about it, like, my daughter gets done playing her last volleyball game. Sure, it's going to be a little upsetting, but she can go play volleyball anytime. Andy, you and I talked about that, being an ex-volleyball player in college. Like, you can play. There's national leagues you can play on. There's lots of things you could do. But once you hang that up, you're hanging it up for good.
Approachable.
There's no back. Yeah, it's an approachable game. Hockey, same thing, right? Incredible game at the high school level. It's awesome to watch. Same at the college level, and you could still play. We played. I played long past out of high school.
That's interesting because I thought we were going to go the other way with that. I mean,
you can still.
You can still play, but it's not like. It's not
an approachable game. It's not as approachable as obviously like a volleyball or whatnot. There's some investment that needs to be made, but it's still an approachable game. If you can freaking skate.
Yeah, but I guess if you're comparing it, because I think I know where you're going. We've had, like you said, we've had this conversation. Football, by comparison, is like there's just nothing. Like yeah, we were talking about that. There's no like adult, like any sort of well-run, well-organized adult football leagues of any sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
can play
one,
national flag. I mean, I played national
right.
flag.
Yeah, you
but
did that,
it's
right.
not the. It's
Mhm.
not the. It's full contact, all that kind of stuff. But it's there's no pads,
Yeah.
so it's not the same thing. It's more like rugby than anything else.
Right.
My best friend and I were talking the other day because we both played football together from second grade all the way through. He went off and played college for a year, but we were talking. It's like, man, my biggest regret in life is that I didn't play golf. Like, why did I play football? I knew
Right.
I'm 5'10". I was a $180. I knew I wasn't going anywhere after that. Now my back hurts and I still suck at golf. Like, why did I just play
True.
golf?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's funny. It's funny. Like, golf is becoming the sport that I feel like most attached to now, because I'm looking at him like as I get older and older, and my ability to play some of the sports I played is growing less and less, and like that basically leaves golf. It's like, that's like the only thing left, and I just had to like kind of like lean into it.
Pickleball.
Yeah. Here's the idiot
Yeah,
that
you
picked
got
up that sport
yeah,
at 46.
snowboarding,
Like a
right?
moron.
Oh yeah. Jason went the other way with that.
Yeah, I went
Right.
the other way. My
My
brain
knees
is
are hard enough
definitely
to get.
younger than my body. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I played hockey for a bit. I played, like intramural softball and stuff like that. But yeah, now it's just like
My buddy's in
man,
his late 40s. He still plays in a hockey league.
I
You know,
can.
he
I know I
could,
can. I'm just
you
like
could totally do it.
I'm just trying to I'm just trying to decide if I'm just gonna like lean into the whole geriatric sports
You got to
or
stay active. You know,
I'm
so
playing
as
into
long as you're doing
softball, and then I'm introduced. I'm just getting an early start on golf. Like
on
that's
golf. Yeah.
those are my two go-tos. I still
Mhm.
play at least men's gold league softball. So
Mhm.
like the highest competition I can get around here without doing
Yeah,
travel ball, but
Yeah.
and then golf.
and then go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of golf, have you guys watched any of that TGL, that new golf league?
I
yet?
watched a little bit. I watched a little
Yeah.
bit, but I have watched some highlights. But
I watched
it's good.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's good. I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah.
I've
That's what I'm struggling with. I want to like it. I really do. But I don't know if I can't get into it just yet.
I watched like the first 2 weeks, and I think either within the first 2 weeks or on the third week, they started having some really glaringly bad technical issues. That's
That'll
really,
kill it.
really killing it for me. Really, really killing it for me. Like all this tech that they like. I don't know if you've seen the arena. The arena is insanely loaded with tech. Like, purpose built specifically for this. You've got 2 tee boxes. You got an up close tee box and a further away tee box, and each of those have green, or each of those have fairway, rough, and sand that you can hit out of. And depending on how much distance you have left to the hole, you hit from each one of those tee boxes. And then once you get under, like, I think it's like 150 yards, you actually turn around, and there's this green like approach area that's actuated by some insane number of actuators where they can undulate the green and rotate the green so that it matches what the approach shot is for your hole. And like the beauty of it is like all the holes are designed like in a complete like vacuum outer space. You can have the craziest holes you want, but every single one of them has some variation of the same green approach where there's like 2 bunkers in the back, one on like the side, and like they can undulate, they can place the pin wherever they want, and they can undulate the greens however they want. But there's a spot on every single hole design where you just plop in that shape of the approach so that it matches what happens in the real world behind them on that articulating green. So that's like the long and just short of the tech, but like, and like obviously all these simulators and stuff that pick up. But like, I think it was like from the front tee boxes, everybody was seeming to hit 30 yards more on every single one of their shots. Like Tiger Woods like put it like 30 yards past, and Tiger's like, look, man, I'm like I'm whatever 50 years old and like falling apart. Like there's no way I hit that club that far.
Right. That's my concern is it still feels like the players are adjusting to hitting to the technology, to the different services, all that stuff, and the tech isn't quite as polished as we were kind of
as it should be. Yeah,
right,
it should
be considering the amount of money and technology that they have invested in this.
Right.
But because I've seen those where they're like, do a chip and it's like skyrocket,
gone.
Gone. Yeah.
And I think the other day, like I think because they hit off a real grass too. I think the simulator picked up like Rory's divot instead of the ball and like registered the divot and, like a 30-yard shot when he like clearly nailed it right into the big ass screen. So yeah, it's just like for the production quality and like what they were touting it as, and like the idea that they're going to take professional golfers and turn this sport into a professional level event, that just makes this the mark for me, and it's kind of turned me off on it ever since. I've not tuned back in since I started to notice that. I don't know if they've worked it out or if it was a one-time thing, but like pretty disappointing.
But that's the thing though. This early in something like that, you got to be flawless because
I was just gonna say
mess up. You only have a few chances to grab a new audience, and if in the first few streams they see these glaring problems, they're gonna drop out.
Look, if drunk DJ Khaled is there just stumbling over things and he notices that he's not that the tech isn't there, then that's when you're not
right.
I guess he's I don't know if he's got like a season tickets or something to that, but he was
really
every
in Vegas, episode. Right? You said
no, it's in where is it in? I think it's in Florida.
Oh, is it?
I think. So where is it? SoFi.
SoFi's in California.
No, it's not. It's not the SoFi football stadium. It's just that the TGL Arena is sponsored by SoFi.
Oh, okay.
Where is it?
It's not like LA or Vegas or anything.
Yeah. Where the hell is this? Yeah, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida.
Oh, I mean, then I actually probably could make it to one of those.
Well, there you
relatively.
Go. It looks like it was a half. Like the first couple weeks looked like it was a half decent time. Like,
is this intended to be more of like an off season?
Yeah,
keep people interested
like spring football,
right?
Yeah, and I think back to the NHL and what the NBA is trying to do is just they're just trying to adjust the sport, and like they do things like it's not traditional like stroke play. It's it's essentially 15 holes or something like that, or 14. It's like
banana ball, like with the like the Savannah Bananas. Like it's got a point structure. It's got a little different rules.
Right. They do like foursomes, like the first one where it's like alternate shot through every person, and then the last like group of holes is like 1v1 like match play, 1v1 for every other hole and stuff. So they're playing with the formats, and I like that. And like they do things like they have like a shot clock, which to be honest with you, like that kind of frustrates me.
That's kind of lame.
I get what they're doing. I get it. They want to like move things along, but like part of the allure of the first few episodes for me was like the strategy aspect of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a big fan of YouTube golf, and the reason why I like YouTube golf so much is because the people that do it are mic'd up the whole time. And like when the pros are mic'd up when you're watching golf, it's insane to hear how they analyze a shot. It's awesome. Like it reminds me of the time that I got hooked on like Tiger Woods PGA Tour golf like way back in the day. Like
who has
because I would sit there and I would I would analyze the shot and place my cursor exactly where I needed to, play the winds, play the slopes, like hit the top button and get as much spin as I possibly can on things. It was awesome because like it felt like I could be super analytical about every shot that I couldn't actually execute in the real world as a shit golfer, but I could do that. And like that's how golfers in the real world, like pros on the PGA Tour, that's how they golf. And you hear that when you're mic'd up. So in TGL, they were all mic'd up, and then they would get together on this touch screen and do essentially the Tiger Woods analysis, Tiger Woods PGA analysis with their team on where they want to place the shot and how they want to play it, but they keep getting cut off because they have 40 seconds to, or whatever it is, to like to get the shot off.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I want to hear more of that. Like,
Let me ask you this: do you think that? So I have I don't know how it's not a well-formed thought, but there's an element of the being in nature with golf and taking that element away. Like there's a organic quality to golf, right? It's like you against nature,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when you take that away, I think you lose a little bit too. Like I think they're really trying to play on, the golden tee aspect of
Yeah.
and
yeah, it's another
popularity,
one.
right? But I don't know. You watch. There's also this physical aspect too, right? Like people underestimate the physical aspect of walking 18
Sure.
holes and
Mm-hmm.
how that impacts your game,
Your
right?
fatigue, your conditioning.
Yeah, and you lose a little bit of that, right?
Yep.
And there's a beauty in course design
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
people do, and I
But
don't know. There's a little
I
bit of that.
agree. I agree. But one thing I think they are getting right is that they're not trying to replicate
True,
traditional golf
true.
in this, because if they were just trying to make it indoor golf, I wouldn't be interested.
Yeah.
Right.
But because it's a spin and they're not trying to capture like the elegance and the like, the sophistication, we'll say, of like the
Yeah, that's a
PGA.
good word for it.
They are gamifying it, making it more approachable. Almost, I mean, almost like, like like the video game leagues. Like
Mhm.
they're making it a little more
Yeah.
technical, a little more snazzy, a little more like
Right.
a little more flair to it, and it's thus inviting a different crowd that may not have otherwise have been interested
Yeah.
in PGA, because it's long and boring and slow to watch on TV and all that stuff, which is probably taking a page out of how successful the clock was the MLB implemented,
Right.
because that sped the games up, made games go faster, made it more interesting, action packed. People weren't nodding off or leaving, and therefore like it made the games faster. People, all that stuff, which I'm sure has part of it, but I do agree. So for a golf like purist, it's
Mhm.
gonna feel icky. It's
Yeah.
like live golf. Like I'm not gonna watch out of principle because I'm a PGA guy. Always love the PGA, all that stuff. It's like, but if you're trying to like introduce young people, newer crowds, because the older people are dying off or whatever it is, like you're gonna find ways to grab younger people. And this is,
Yeah.
I think, an interesting like experiment on a way to do that for a game that is traditionally looked at as slow, stuffy,
Yeah.
classist, all
Unapproachable.
that thing. Unapproachable, exactly. So
Yeah. Yeah. And
now,
speaking of which, not the sidebar all this, but back to the Super Bowl. When is the NFL going to get with the program and start integrating some more tech into the game?
Yeah.
Right.
they went
Between
backwards.
they went they right. They
Dude,
did.
everyone's
did.
so pissed about their game bug, like the square
I-
the score on it.
I like
Yeah.
the bug. I thought the
I
bug was
didn't,
fine.
I didn't mind it either.
I didn't mind
I
it
mean,
either.
maybe this is telling because we all work in graphic design, but sometimes
Yeah.
when you're not, when you don't make something so ridiculously like techie looking, sometimes it's better in my opinion. It was flat. It was easy to digest, and it was fine to
Yeah,
me. It
no
could have been even a
frills.
little
It was fun.
smaller, really.
Yeah, if they would have made it
took
a
up a
little
lot of real estate.
smaller,
Yeah.
yeah, but I like that you could see between it as opposed to just
Yeah.
the full block
Yeah.
where you can't see anything below it. So if they just made it a little bit smaller,
Yeah.
and
But
you
they
could see more
gotta
of the
they
field.
gotta fix the chains. They gotta fix
Yeah.
the
I
with
thought
the ball.
I
They've
thought they were
got
pretty
all
close.
this. They got all this IoT on players.
Yeah.
Right, even at the high school level, with all of the beacons and stuff that the kids are wearing now to track telemetry. Come on,
Wait,
like
what?
like you get with the program with as far as gameplay is concerned. I mean, it's probably not being done because of the bookies, but it's something needs to be done.
No, some commentator made a comment. Duh. Things
The
I think of
commentator
in my
made a
brain.
comment. You
That
don't say.
that they were God damn it. That they were close to, I think, trying to maybe in the preseason implement I don't they called it something, but it was like essentially like the
Laser
NFC
chains.
chip in the ball to like like figure out where the down where the ball was downed at or whatever.
Yeah.
So that I mean
we're a few more obvious missed calls away from just removing
From it happening.
Like especially in baseball. Baseball had some really horrific ones, and they were like, "This is like a ball is a ball, a strike is a strike," kind of thing.
Right.
Like the NFL is a little tough because there's a holding on every play. There's there's literally something on every single play. You know.
But when you're talking about forward progress, you're talking about
right. The spotting the ball though is the most obvious. Like the ball was where the ball was thing, and it impacts so much of the game, which shouldn't be left to perspective of where they were running.
Human error.
I do think that more often than not they spot the ball a lot better than I thought that humans would be able to. Like there's a lot of times it's not I'm not defending them by any stretch of the imagination. If we can make a tech that works better, we should absolutely do that. But like I'm more often than not when they go to replay, I'm super surprised at like how accurate these ball spotters are sometimes. Like it just, like for it being a human and it being a tiny object in the middle of a scrum of people, like all going after that object, they somehow find a way to locate it and get it pretty close. It's pretty remarkable for a human to be able to do that, in my opinion. But it's been pretty bad, and when it's bad, it goes.
It's bad.
It goes real bad, especially when you start getting into like the difference between first down and fourth down on these things.
Well, especially now that you have teams that are taking more risk.
Yeah.
They're as a strategy.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you combat that, though. Is you just all right. Well, if we didn't give you the first down on third down, and your tradition says you punt it on fourth down, buck tradition and go for it on fourth down.
Right.
It's like you got you got 9/10 of the way there. How hard could it be to get one more tenth?
But I do think it can make the game a lot more interesting when you're talking about velocity on the ball. Arc. You could do a whole lot with data. They could be pretty interesting to make the game even more interesting.
I long for a day when the next gen stat stuff that they show, like on some of these cutaways, is like what we see live.
They have that.
They do.
So Prime.
I was gonna say it. Yeah. AWS
yeah. Well, that makes sense.
An alternate stream where you can have like it's got like the Madden names over like it'll literally hover. These are the 3 wide receivers. Yeah. Here's the most likely place for this to go. Like not just the defensive things, but
I've seen some of that. But like I like the player tracker. Like where the little green stream follows where they went. Like why can't we do that live? Like like as soon as like.
We've implemented the first down mark. Why not? And
right, yeah, it's just it'd just be so cool.
Didn't the NHL do that with slapshots and stuff?
Puck tracker, the tracer. That tech was ahead of its time, but nobody liked it. It was
because it was choppy when it came out. I think if they had with the technology we have today, I think a version of that would be much more successful.
They are looking into that because I think it was a pretty. I read up on that tracer back in when it was initially implemented, and they've dabbled with bringing it back a little bit. Like what it took to pull that off at that time, and I think it was like somewhere in the 2000s, like mid 2000s. It was insane, and like they managed to do it without impacting the characteristics of the puck, in any way, shape, or form. And like that was like
Right.
pretty awesome what they pulled off. It just nobody liked it. Everybody thought it looked weird, and hockey purists were like, no, I want to be able to find the puck. If my if my aunt who's sitting next to me can't see the puck, that's her fault. Like,
But which is so crazy.
96 to 98.
wow.
96 to 98.
Man, that
It
was
was way ahead of its time.
Yeah,
way ahead of its
the
time.
resolution was horrible then. You couldn't see the puck on a
Yeah,
traditional TV anyways.
Right, you're right. Yeah,
that's true.
that's before HD, right? Or was it after? I don't know.
Before 4K for sure.
Well, right, yeah.
But I specifically
Interesting.
remember where I was, and like the first time I saw an HD football game, or like standard definition, and I was like, it felt weird. Like,
Yeah, right.
This is too clear.
Right.
I don't know. Like, it was wild. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, like I'm sure it was pretty wild for me. I think the transition that was more noticeable was like when it went to like 120 hertz, like pro motion.
Mhm.
Like I still don't think most games don't even broadcast at that like refresh rate, but like seeing like the fluid motion of like a high refresh rate or high frames per second is just it's like so weird how real it feels. Like it feels like you could just like take the guy and pull him out and put him, like put him on your desk or whatever.
It's interesting. It looks like this has been tried a couple of times, and then I guess they had another RFID puck that was used in the 2021 season, but it was only lasted a few days because the players said it wasn't the puck wasn't
the feel
flowing
was different.
the feel was different on the ice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the original company is still around, and I think they're
SMT.
they're one of like the top like analytics and tech companies for sports these days, which is funny because their tech in the NHL failed miserably, not through any fault of their own, but they're still one of like the best companies for it.
Go figure.
Yep.
Well, what else we have? Anything else? Or you want to cut it loose for today?
Yeah, I don't really have much else. I don't know. Do you guys?
We covered a wide range of topics. We got the Super Bowl. We got
Square
Nations. Yeah, we have got.
Do you finish your
golf.
Smokey O? Is that why you're ready to go?
No, you know what? I got to the bottom and I was getting a little bit too much maple syrup, and I've got now the smoky glaze on top, and it's kind of gets a little crummy. So, it got watered down. So I'm gonna leave it be for now.
What'd you use for ice?
No, just chunk ice.
Yeah,
I haven't done my. I've been lazy. I haven't gone. Yeah, I haven't been making my rocks. So I gotta get. I've got them sitting on the counter in the kitchen. I've got to go get back on that.
I obsessed for a while about trying to make like the crystal clear spheres. That you get like when you go.
It's damn near impossible.
Like the metal. Metal. Did you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I did there was the hack. The closest I ever got at home was you get one of those circular molds, but then you got to like submerge it in a like a Bubba keg, like one of those. Have you seen one of those like Bubba keg like insulated things or whatever? Because like supposedly like the insulation and it's got to be like suspended. It can't be like resting on anything. So you got to like have this thing like somehow
it's already too much work.
I know it's way.
I was saying that's wild.
So much work, but just the difference between just a big ice cube, like, and all I do now is I just have one of those like big like 2-inch by 2-inch cubes.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, 3-inch cube. I don't even know what size it is, but just one of those regular molds, and I just
it's in a rocks glass kind of.
Yeah. It's just
I got the 4 globe thing,
Yeah.
and then I use filtered water on it to try, and it doesn't do anything. It's still white as can be.
Yeah,
but whatever.
I've had all of I had the bulldog ice cubes for a while. I had the skulls. I had the.
Who was it? Somebody at work was telling me that the bulldog ice cubes were game changers. What's your take? Elite? Really?
Loved it.
Do you love it just because it's a bulldog? Because I think you have a bulldog, don't you?
Because I have 2 bulldogs. But what I liked about it is one, it was easier to like grab because the spheres,
True.
I mean, it get slippery, right? So
Yeah.
I felt like when I was dropping the sphere in,
Not only that,
it would slip out of my hands and splash.
Right.
Whereas the
Yes.
bulldog, I had something to grip onto and I could drop it in
Yeah.
Yeah.
controlled, so I wasn't splashing shit everywhere.
Yeah. But it's
Oh, I see him now. I've never even seen these before. This is pretty cool.
yeah, like I don't know, like I trust this person's opinion very much, and it was just, why a bulldog? What, like
Right.
can I get like an alien shaped one, or like, like
I'm sure.
Like,
I
what-
just got it
Like-
because I thought it was cute.
like
I didn't
bulldogs,
realize it was like a big thing until after I had gotten it. And because I got it as a gift, but I had put it in like oh, these are cool. Like I want bourbon cubes or whatever.
Right.
But it wasn't. But again, like I said, I had skulls. I had the typical sphere, all that stuff. I felt like I always like the skulls never. They always felt like they had weird air pockets, and they always came out misshapen and like
yeah,
just didn't look like a skull. And then I always dropped the spheres. But the bulldog, I feel like, like I said, it
Gives you
filled
the
it.
grip.
It went well. I could grip it. I didn't feel like I was splashing or dropping because if you're putting a rock into bourbon, then that assumes that you're trying to not water it down. So that probably also means that you're not trying to spill it either. So
Yeah, my issue is that I like too much bourbon in mine. So like I have to do the smoke. I have the same smoker that you have, Jason. The same thing. Like it's how it
Yeah.
kind of submerges underneath the rim of the
Right.
like so it's not flush with the top. Yeah, it sits down into the liquid. So I can't put an ice cube in before I smoke it.
See, I don't
Right.
smoke it on ice though.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
I don't either. Yeah. I don't do that. Like it would
I tried to.
presentationally, it would be nicer to be able to smoke it with the ice in there because I can keep the smoke in there longer and be like, hey, look, everybody, look at me. I have a smoky old fashioned. But
Right.
at this point, I'm not going for presentation anymore, so it doesn't matter to me. But yeah, I smoke first, then put the ice in because then that raises the volume of the liquid like up too high to where my smoker would be submerged. So I have to do it in that order.
I've gotten to the point where I'm more concerned about now. I've gotten to the point where I'm more concerned about the experience than I am, like you said, how it looks, whatever. Because but that's what I like about smoking it. Right? Is like it's part of the
Right.
experience. It
Hi,
adds,
man. Yeah.
smell it, you
Right.
feel it, you put a little work into it, you feel like you cherish it a little more,
Yeah.
take it in a little more. Like if it just
And
if it's something that like builds on the experience, then I'm willing to do it.
And I've had one of these, damn near at least one damn near every week for like the last 3 years.
Oh,
And like it's cool because like it's like you said, it's a process, but I've also gotten to the point where I can do this process in my sleep. And
Right,
like it
right.
feels like good to be able to construct a fairly intricate cocktail without batting an eyelash and just like, like other sorts of those things. I would have looked at it on like a Friday night when I'm just looking to get the weekend started, and I would have been like, no, that's too much work. Just give me a beer, give me something I can pop open a can or like mix something, two things together. But no, this like I've gotten so dialed in this regimen that it's almost a part of my weekend now, where it's like I have to do this in order to get the weekend going. So
There's help for that, Andy.
yeah,
hey, you only need help if it's a problem, right?
That's
thought
right.
we agreed not to bring this up on the podcast.
the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. Isn't that what Homer Simpson says?
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah, the cause of and solution of. Yes, you're right.
That's right. That's right.
AA is for quitters. What is it?
Dad, we're really branching into the things on the second episode already. We're already getting in trouble.
Yeah, well, this was a blast, guys. I mean, like, I think we've
was.
covered all the topics and then some, but appreciate y'all hanging
do it
out and
again.
chatting. We're definitely going to do it again sometime.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you anybody stumbles upon this, like I said last time, feel free to subscribe if you like it. If you don't like it, subscribe anyway, because who cares?
It's free and it helps.
Right, exactly.
Right.
If you're reading, if you made it this far, you owe it to us
Right.
to subscribe, please. I mean, like
Really.
you're an
This is
hour
true,
and
this
10
is
minutes
true.
into the second episode. Just please, just subscribe.
Right.
Yeah, because maybe at some point we can get to the point where we can make some money off of this, but that's not the goal because I just genuinely enjoy chatting with you guys. We do this all the time off camera, so we figured we'd do it on camera and see if anybody else gets a laugh out of it. So please, if you can, subscribe. But yeah, and if you got ideas for stuff you want to hear, things you want us to do differently, if you want us to just pack it up and stop doing it, let us know as well too.
Feedback is a gift.
Well, yeah, right.
But we will see you guys soon for episode 3. And until then, cheers, boys.
Cheers.
We'll see you later.
Take care.
Bye.